Can't you just do like normal things?
Nah, man, that's for mediocre people.
This is the absolute event of the century.
I've met so many incredible people, such good energy.
Make sure you're part of this group. Don't miss out on this stuff. Make sure you're here next time. Go to Limitless. Check it out.
Keaton, my brother, thank you so much for changing my life. Fucking love you forever, man.
Get in there today, hit the link, do whatever you gotta do, but get in this group, man, that's life-changing.
I just met Donald Trump Jr. Keaton was here. He brought all his friends. Such an amazing event, guys. Definitely come to the next one.
My name is Dave Sparks, aka Heavy D.
Rene Rodriguez, keynote speaker and author.
My name is Bedros Keuilian. I'm a founder of a giant fitness franchise and also a serial entrepreneur and coach to high-level entrepreneurs.
David Goggins, retired military, motivational speaker, endurance athlete, do a lot of crazy shit.
To me, the word limitless means being dumb enough to try. It's literally just doing instead of thinking.
We've been told that we have the potential to be limitless, but very few of us teach us the mindset. And to me, limitless is a mindset. It's a way of living. It's a way of seeing the world and a way of seeing yourself.
I think most people set limits for themselves, and limitless truly means breaking through those limits and reaching your highest potential.
When you get somewhere in your life where you believe you've hit a limit, that is a self-imposed limit that you put on yourself. We are all limitless. Yes, we're all going to die. We all have points in life where times are hard and we question ourselves, we question our abilities, we question everything. It doesn't mean that you cannot push beyond. So limitless gives you the hope and the belief that you can go beyond what you think that you can.
Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done.
Guys, the next guy that I'm about to bring on stage is special, all right? Now I want everyone to do me a favor and take a look around you. Look at this arena. Look at all the speakers we got on stage. Look at the lineup that is happening today. This started because the vision of one man. Now, the way that I met this man is I actually got an opportunity to speak at FitCon Utah, and I met him for the first time. And for some reason, he thought I was cool, handsome, had a cool beard, so he invited me over to his house for a party. And I thought there was gonna be like, maybe, 100, 200 people there. There was like 10 people there. And he's just sitting there cooking dinner for everybody, taking care of everybody. That's exactly what he does. He just takes care of everyone, puts everybody else first. And I remember going up to my wife and being like, man, he told me about this event that he was doing in Salt Lake City. I was like, man, I would love to MC that event. But guys, I'm a nobody. I'm just a hardworking kid that put myself in the room. So I went up to him and I was like, bro, I was like, I really want to help you with the Limitless event. I was like, and I'll be your water boy if you want me to be your water boy. Like, I'll stand by the side of the stage, bring you water and coffee. But I'm like, but I'd also crush it as an MC. And he's like, yeah, maybe, we'll see. Followed up the next day, shot him a text. Followed up the next day, shot him a text. And then he FaceTimes me, and he's like, I want you to MC the event. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Now, the reason this man is so special is because not only does he have the ability to look into people's souls and see something in them that they don't see in themselves, which allows them to step into their power and become limitless, but this man also has the ability to bring together the most powerful entrepreneurs in the United States of America underneath one roof. What? This man commands presence, he commands power, he's passionate, and he is one of the only men on the planet that I look up to. My brother, the muscle, Keaton Hoskins!
Look at yourself in the mirror and tell me what a man is without pride. Tell me what a man is without fire in his eyes. Tell me who the fuck you are. You are.
Everybody get seated. I got a confession I gotta make real quickly. I never, ever, ever prepare for speeches, ever. I never say the same speech, but today I did. I spent a lot of time in prayer thinking about what I could teach today. I actually prepared, so hopefully this speech is better than my normal speeches. But in doing so, and in prayer and in study and meditation, I realized, as you guys know, I mentor people one-on-one, I mentor in Limitless Society. I realized that there was one common denominator for what people seek. One. And I realized it's what I wanted to speak on today. Now, I don't want you to stand up, I just want you to raise your hands. If you have a goal or a dream that you wish to accomplish, raise your hand. Good. Now, to accomplish that goal and dream, you must become a more powerful version than you currently are. So, today, I want to teach you how to become a more powerful version of yourself. I'm going to give you a recipe, and it's one that I learned from a very, very crazy situation. Today's message to you will be the hardest message that I ever give, so please be patient with me, because this story is as close to me as anything I've ever done. Now, you guys know last year, I spoke about my father and his death and the things that my father taught me about dreaming and executing on your dreams. As my father passed on, he passed that mantle. But what I didn't speak about were the few weeks creeping up to his death and the conversations that I had had with a dying father. A few weeks before my father passed away, I had one of the hardest conversations of my life. I sat on a table across from him and I asked him, "Dad, are you afraid to die?" And he said, "No, I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to leave my wife and my children. I'm afraid to not be here." And I was put into a position where I had to lie to my dad. I looked at my dad and I could see the real concern in his eyes. He was genuinely concerned about leaving this earth and not having his wife and his 5 children taken care of. I looked my dad in the eyes and I said, "Dad, I promise you, I will take care of them." I specifically remember seeing a little bit of relief and him seeing his oldest son and accepting that his oldest son was now going to step up to the plate. Now, here's where the lie was. I had no idea how I was going to do that, and there was no way in hell I was prepared to do that. I was 21. So, I realized when I made that promise to my father, when he died, that I had to become a more powerful version of who I currently was. If I was going to fulfill on the promises to a dying father, I had to become more powerful than I currently was. Every single one of you have dreams and goals, wishes, aspirations, promises that you've made to yourself you're going to accomplish. And what you're going to have to realize is the only route to that is more powerful you. Now, I realized this, and I knew it was time for me to study. It was time for me to figure out, how do I become more powerful? Now, at that time in my life, and still today, I had one person that I looked to who I thought was the most powerful person ever. And I'm not here to preach the gospel, but for me, it was Jesus Christ. Whether you believe him to be a God, whether you believe him to be a man, you must accept he was powerful, because we still talk about him today. Well, there's millions of stories. There's millions of stories of Christ and his life. But there was one in that amount of time in my life that stuck out to me. And it stuck out to me because I completely disagreed with it. It was the craziest story. In Matthew, chapter 18, Christ gathers around very smart people, doctors, lawyers, Pharisees, scribes, who they would consider to be powerful, learned men. He brings them in and he says, "Bring me your children." He gathers the children around him. And then he says a statement that at the time when I read it, I disagreed with it. He said, "You should become as the children." It hit me because I was really frustrated about it and I didn't really agree with it, but for some reason it stuck with me. And I have fought this principle for a very, very long time until a moment in my life, which was the most powerful moment of my life. Now you guys know, actually Dave and I, we had a TV show called Diesel Brothers. That's how some of you guys know us. We were very famous and popular. We had one of the greatest reality shows in the world. We had an opportunity to be famous. 5 years ago, I got a message from a young lady. She said to me, "Hey, I've got someone I need you to meet." Now, we used to get messages all the time, and if any of you guys know Diesel Dave, he gets every message and then he goes and does it. So if you invite him to your bar mitzvah, your wedding, if you invite him to Monday night dinner, he's there. Well, Heavy D and I are not the same. We kind of try to pick and choose. But I got this message from this young lady and she said, "Hey, I've got this little girl who would like to meet you. She has some wishes." She said, "Can I tell you about her?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." She said, she was diagnosed with cancer and she has a bucket list of what she wishes to accomplish before she goes. She's 11 and she has this crazy list, but I follow you and everything on her list you can do. I said, "I'm in. What's her list?" She said, "Well, first, let me tell you, you gotta meet her." I said, "All right, I'm in. What's her name?" She said her name's Karma. She's incredible. The lady who I was talking to said she's one of the most powerful human beings you're ever gonna meet. I said, "Well, I gotta meet her." And she said, "Let me tell you, there's a huge list, but at the top of the list, this 11-year-old she wants to go to prom. Do you think you can make that happen? I said, absolutely, I can. So instead of meeting her, my friends Dave and I and Heavy D, we put together a video. Now, of course, we had a lot of followers, so it was easy for it to go viral. And in the video, I actually asked Karma to prom with me. Well, because it went viral, Karma saw it. And I got an answer. I was actually kind of nervous she was gonna say no. You guys will see why in just a second. I used to be very self-conscious about the gray in my beard, so I used to dye my beard, so don't laugh at the video that you're gonna see. But she said yes. So I said, okay, what's the rest of the list? They said she wants to ride in a limousine, she wants to ride in a Lamborghini, she wants to drive a Razor, she wants to go to prom, she wants a shopping spree. I said, done, let's do it. So I went to meet her. She was incredible. I said, listen, I'm sorry your date is not better looking, but I promise you we're gonna have fun. But first, we gotta jump in my limo and we gotta go to shopping and we gotta get everything we want. And then we're gonna get you a dress and we're gonna go to prom. So I ended up doing this crazy cool experience with this young girl. And the night before prom, her mother, her name's Crystal, she reached out. She said, hey, it's gonna be a little bit hard. She really only has a few weeks left to live. And her body is just starting to give out. I said, I got you. I got you. So I went to pick up Karma. And the first thing when I see her come out, she starts telling me about all the new stuff that we're gonna do. We already accomplished all the first bucket list. We got so much more to do. And I realized the first principle that I learned, the first principle of becoming powerful, I learned from an 11-year-old girl. She was delusional. For those of you who don't, you won't learn. Write this shit down. Number one to becoming a powerful human being is you must be delusional. There are so many people on this earth who will talk you out of your dreams, of your goals. They'll tell you you're crazy. How grateful I am that someone in the 1800s, when there was no motor vehicles, looked in the sky in a delusion and said, you know what, I want to fly with birds. So today, I get to fly a helicopter because of his delusion. Most of you know Elon Musk. I don't know if you know this, but he's putting people on Mars. That's delusional as shit. And I guarantee you in the next 20 years, we're going to have people on Mars. I learned this principle from an 11-year-old who was told she only had so much left to live, and she was delusional about what she was going to accomplish. Principle number one, you write this down. I must become delusional. I went to pick up Karma. She looked beautiful. But because her body was failing her, she was in a wheelchair, she had her oxygen on, her body wasn't able to regulate its temperature, so she was cold. I picked her up physically, I put her in the Lamborghini, we drove to prom. One of the most valuable principles I ever learned in my entire life, the one that I live and die by, the one that has created the power in which I now have, she taught me. Now I want to show you a picture, if we can pull a picture up. We pulled up to prom. We pulled up to prom, and the first thing I thought, I pull in with a Lamborghini, I got a goofy ass beard. The first thing I thought is, oh man, how many people are in there? What are they gonna think? Are they gonna laugh at me? And I looked over at her, smiling, ear to ear. I proceeded to pick her up and I put her in this wheelchair. And then we walked that wheelchair down an aisle of people, hundreds of people. And I remember while I was walking and pushing her, she had a blanket on, she had oxygen on, and the only thing I was thinking was, what are people thinking? Are they laughing at me? Do I look stupid? I remember looking at her still. She had this beautiful smile on her face. She taught me the number one principle for me to become powerful. You have to stop caring what people think. Most of you will never accomplish what you set out to accomplish because you're too worried about what people think. So first you must become delusional, and then you must stop giving a shit what people think. Your parents, your friends, your peers, your teachers. Most of you have dictated your life based on the principles of what other people think you should do. Karma taught me to stop giving a shit about what people think. I specifically remember I walked in pushing her into this wheelchair. You can see my head's down. I was embarrassed because I didn't know what people would think of me. Not her. See that smile? She stopped caring. She set out to accomplish everything she wanted to accomplish. Now, we spent the rest of the time on the dance floor. I rolled her into prom. I was lucky enough to have the first dance, but because she was so incredibly famous at this point, everybody wanted to dance with her. So I let them have their time. We danced all night. I was exhausted. At one point, I sat down, I went to get a drink, and I turned around, and she was gone. I didn't know where she was. I turned to her mother. I said, uh-oh, did my date leave me? She ran out on me, didn't she? She said, no, her body is really, really tired. She's exhausted. She's taking a little bit of a break. She's in the back. We've got her hooked up, we've got her oxygen turned up, and she's really cold, so she's warming up. And I said, oh, okay, I'm tired too. Let's get the hell out of here. And her mother, Crystal, looked at me and she goes, oh, you don't know karma, do you? I said, what? She said, no, that's not gonna work. I said, if she's exhausted and her body's giving out, let's go. It's 9:30. She said, no. They wheeled her back out after she'd had a little bit of a rest. She finished the rest of the night off dancing her brains out. At one point, I remember I came up to her and I said, hey, Karma, it's all right if you want to go. I know this prom thing's really important to you, but let's get out of here. She looked at me like I was crazy. She said, I'm not done yet. You will wait. I said, okay. And I realized then that she was teaching me the third principle to become powerful. She was delusional in what she wanted to accomplish. She stopped caring about what people thought. And she was resilient as shit. Most of you set out goals to accomplish, and they become hard, and you get tired. Sure as shit, you're not as tired as an 11-year-old who's dying from cancer, but you give up. You decide your dreams, your goals, they're not good enough. I'm too tired. I don't need to be resilient enough to accomplish the things I wish to seek. Not Karma. She was dead set on accomplishing every damn thing she wanted to accomplish that night at that prom. She taught me that to become powerful, I must become resilient in that which I seek to accomplish. And for her, it was an 11-year-old girl's dream to just go to prom. And we're not leaving until it's over. I ended up getting her about, I think, 11 o'clock at night, getting her ready to go back home. I wheeled her back to the Lamborghini, and she was exhausted. I could physically see her body was just done. I could see that this 11-year-old, her mind was telling her all the things that she wanted to accomplish, and her body was telling her, we just don't have much left. There's not much left in the gas tank. She took a little nap in the Lamborghini on the way home. I remember as we got close to home, I was a coward. I looked at her and everything in me wanted to make me feel better. I looked at her and I said, hey, you know what, Karma? I don't know what the doctor said, but I think you're gonna be just fine. I know, but I think you're gonna be just fine. I said it because I felt helpless. I knew it wasn't true, but it made me feel better. I looked at her and I lied right to her face so that I could feel better. I was quickly reprimanded. She looked at me. She's out of breath. Her body is just exhausted. She said, Keaton, I don't have much longer to live, and that's okay. It doesn't do any good for us to pretend. Now I'm real tired, and I'm ready to get home, but I still have a lot of things to accomplish. And I'm not under any impression that I'm gonna be here long. She taught me the most powerful principle, I think, for the masses. Principle number 4, you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to stop being the coward that I was in a Lamborghini talking to an 11-year-old so that I could feel better. Most of you aren't willing to look at yourself in the mirror and say where you're at this time. You're not willing to give a true metric in life. You feed yourself and everyone else full of bullshit, and you wonder, why am I not becoming who I want to become? Because you are not as powerful as an 11-year-old girl who looked me right in the eyes and said, nope, that's not true, Keaton. Let me be brutally honest with you. I don't have much left to live. She taught me what Christ told me. So now the scripture reads different to me. Keaton, become as Karma. If you seek to become powerful, you must become as Karma. The most valuable principle that I learned was through her. It taught me everything that I needed to know and learn and be. And while I continued to grow, I still stay true to those principles. Now, I want to share with you real quickly a video so that you can see how that night ended up, because I think it's very beautiful. Can we play that video?
You know that every woman in this world is more beautiful. Like, guess what? I'm a queen. I don't wear my crown on my head. I wear my heart, so carry it forever.
I asked her to prom. She said no. Nah, just kidding.
I said yes and we're in the Lamborghini.
Okay, we've done everything we came to do. We did prom.
Yeah.
We did the Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
We did a shopping spree.
Yes.
We painted the town gold. What else did we do? We did the Mad Scientist.
And virtual reality.
Virtual reality. And we even got to ride in the limo.
Yes.
Now there's only one thing left to do.
And that is talk to Ellen.
So we are really hoping to see Ellen send this video and make it viral. The things that I learned from karma, I implemented. From that time until today, I've continued to implement over and over and over again. Now, I made a promise to my father when he was dying. That promise was that I would take care of my siblings and my mother. Last year, I had a really beautiful opportunity. I called my mom into my office and I sat her down and I said, Mom, you don't know this, but I made a promise to Dad. One that I wasn't sure I was going to fulfill. The promise was that I was going to take care of you, and essentially that means financially. I handed my mom a debit card, and I said, you no longer have to worry for the rest of your life about money. You're retired. I made a promise to Dad, and I'm going to fulfill it, and the only way that that was possible was by becoming something much more powerful than that young, scared 21-year-old. The only way that I was able to make that possible was through the principles that I learned from a young girl. I gotta be more delusional. I've gotta get into a place where I stop caring what other people think. I've got to be more resilient in the things that I set out to accomplish. And the hardest one for all of us, Keaton, you must be brutally honest with who you are and where you're at in this life. Because of that, I have been able to fulfill that promise and will continue to fulfill the promise to my father that I will continue to take care of my family, my mother, those around me, because I will continue to grow and be more powerful. And I will continue to accomplish the goals that today I have by becoming more powerful to actually have them. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with. At Karma's funeral, I was a pallbearer, and I remember carrying her casket. It was very, very emotional. And I remember thinking at the time, like, there's something really special here. Something that you're learning today that's really, really special. And I walked over to Karma's mother, Crystal, and I gave her a hug. And I said, how are you doing? And she said, I'm good. I said, is there anything I can do for you? She said, no. I said, how are you feeling? She said, you know what I want? I want Karma's message and story to reach thousands of people. I want for the things that she was and who she was to reach thousands and thousands of people. And I'm hoping that this message will. So, I've got one really, really special moment. Crystal's here. Crystal, will you stand up? Now, Crystal, I want you to turn around. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like for you to stand up if Karma's message taught you something and it reached you today. We did it. Karma still lives on. And obviously there's thousands and thousands of people here who heard her message and it rang true. So thank you. I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very appreciative that you are here, that you invested the time and the money to be here. But all of this is a waste if you do not take these principles and implement them into your life. As Christ once said, become as the children. For each one of you, there are principles in that phrase that apply to your life. I don't know what that is. I gave you my 4. I would challenge each one of you, find out for yourself. Spend more time with children. Now, lucky for me, I'm an expert in children. I have 5 daughters that are sitting here on the front row. Spend more time being present with children. Watch how it changes you. The man you see on this stage is only here because of the time that he spent with his children. Most of you think that it's the people on stage that you should be spending time with. Most of you think it's powerful individuals. It's not. There is a reason that the most powerful human being, a God, came down onto earth and said, become as the children. And to me, Keaton, you must become as Karma. Thank you so much for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Keaton the Muscle Hoskins!